Oh my God. The big, beautiful bill passed narrowly in the Senate. What does that mean for you? BBB, the BBB, Trump's big, beautiful bill. Now, I am fascinated by all this. We're going to talk about some of the positives, some of the negatives about this. Now, I do happen to agree with Elon. I do like bills to be very thin. When it comes to the overall bill, I don't like the federal government having too much power, so there may be some issues with this big, beautiful bill. I'm not a fan of the federal government, but I'm curious. So we're going to go over a couple things. How does this... we're going to celebrate with some chili mac. Hold on. All right. So let's talk about a couple things here. We're going to talk about the stocks and the tax cuts, all right? So there are... with stocks, here's how it affects stocks directly. Hold on, let me at least put a please like and subscribe. It really helps the channel. Thanks. All right. So, real quick, we're going to talk about the stocks, how it affects stocks. So the Big Beautiful Bill, also known as the One Big Beautiful Bill, I think, or the OBBBA or whatever the hell it's called. Anyway, it just passed the Senate. Whether you love it, you loathe it, it does carry a lot of implications. Now, personally, I'm kind of curious. I think this is bullish for stocks. So there is a major benefit for U.S. stocks. One are the corporate tax cuts. Those are extended, by the way. Higher net earnings for companies equals potential higher stock prices. This is huge. So if companies don't have to pay as much in taxes, the shareholders actually get more of a benefit. And if you think about it, the consumer to some degree gets some sort of benefit because all the money that would go to taxes are spent on improving the business or whatever. Right? I don't think government improves anything, so I think there shouldn't be any taxes on corporations at all. So I think government's wildly incompetent. Now, there should be taxes on individuals, but not on corporations. I firmly believe this. And I'll tell you why. Corporations are already providing a product and a service. Why do they also need to be taxed when they are providing things? Even though it's at a cost, but it's still at the most affordable cost that they can make it. Now, I know, everybody's like, Mike, all you care about are billionaires. It's like, no, I don't. I care about companies doing well. I'm an investor. All right, I want to see these companies do well. And if there's corporate tax cuts, that means the greedy government is not interfering with the process of a business growing. Taxes are just bullshit anyway. All of our tax money goes to stupid causes like I'm not going to say it, but because I'll probably get banned if I say what stupid causes I think that are government fuels, but I'm not going to go into that. Tim Smith says, just got home, got paid on Canada Today. Oh, today's Canada Day? Well, happy Canada Day, everybody. Not only are we celebrating the big, beautiful bill, we're also celebrating Canada Day. Tim Smith also got some groceries and bought 63 shares of HHIS, which is the Harvest I forget the exact name, but it's the ETF that my boy Tim Smith is in. Hell yeah, dude. Let's see here. So we're celebrating a chili mac. This is the celebration food. This is the food of choice for this channel. Very, very good. Hold on. Oh, I do love chili mac, you guys. It is a guilty pleasure of mine. So we're going to talk about a couple other things here while I'm slowly eating. So corporate tax cuts were extended. This helps businesses not have to pay taxes to the government, who's wildly incompetent, will probably do terrible things with that money anyway. There's also regulatory rollbacks in energy, AI, environmental sectors. Its boosts are to industrials, tech, and fossil fuel companies. Now, I do believe that there should be regulations, absolutely. But there are far too many regulations out there that in a lot of ways hinder progress. If Trump is able to roll back a lot of those unnecessary regulations, then I'm all for it. If it means that actual progress can happen and nobody really gets hurt, sure. Let's see here. But dude, I like it, man. If I lived in Canada, I'd probably be doing what Tim Smith is doing with the HHIS ETF. That thing's pretty sick. And then also, another benefit for stocks. Now, you could be... I'm kind of curious. I didn't even really look at how the stock market did after the big, beautiful bill passed. Let me see here. Because I am very, very curious on how the stock market did. I'm a buy and hold investor for the most part. I do check the markets if I'm swing trading the SBIT, which I love swing trading the SBIT. It's the only closest thing I do to gambling, but it's not really much of a gamble because I'm betting against something that'll eventually go to zero because it's a Ponzi scheme. What am I looking at? Actually, stocks went up quite a bit. VT, Vanguard Total World Index did all right. VNQ did good. Some of the banks, Wells Fargo, Citi, and Citigroup did really well. Yeah, it looks like a few companies went up. Even Coca-Cola went up by quite a bit. Damn, dude. Yeah, so overall, what we're seeing here is a net positive. Like I said, less regulations, corporate tax cuts are extended, which means companies can grow, and you, instead of paying taxes, which honestly, when you pay taxes, it's a black hole. So as a corporation, if a corporation has to pay taxes, it's going to crappy causes anyway. Most of the politicians line their pockets. That's what happens. Government, and I'm going to say this, and I'm serious when I say this, government, in my opinion, is fraud, waste, and abuse. It's incompetent people performing fraud, waste, and abuse. That's all I got to say. And there's no vision. It's only status quo. Government is about status quo. That's why I don't want the government running anything, because the government is wildly incompetent. The people who are attracted to getting into government typically are wildly incompetent. That's why I don't trust lifelong politicians. I don't know how anybody in their right mind can trust a lifelong politician. But if you do, okay, fine. More power to you. That is your cross to bear. But you should know that guys like Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden, they are all lifelong politician grifters. Anyway, enough of that tangent. Tim Smith says, a new ETF company files for 3 new ETFs with the SEC, all of which will pay dividends twice a week. Wait, twice a week? Like, in 1 week, in a single week, I'll get 2 separate dividend payouts? Holy shit. I don't know how I feel about that. It sounds kind of schemy. Jazz Cab Confessions. That's an interesting report. Jazz Cab Confessions says, beyond the typical index tracking ETFs, what are some of the lesser known or more specialized ETFs that you find particularly interesting, and why? Hmm. Well, I like covered call ETFs. I like the XYLD. I don't think that one gets talked about enough because it does covered calls against 100% of its holding is 100% of its holdings. 100% of the holdings are S&P 500 based, so companies. Essentially, it's just derivative income. It's really all it boils down to. It's just pure derivative income. But yeah, I mean, covered call ETFs are a great example of derivative income. I like actively managed ones like JEPI. That's GEG. It's a ticker symbol JEPI. That's a decent one. What's a couple other ones? Let me see here. Give me one moment. I haven't really eaten anything all day, so I'm pretty hungry. So I gotta get some food in me. But overall, oh shit. Yeah. So as far as it goes, though, besides the standard index ETFs, as far as like ETFs that do different kind of things, I kind of like the yield max ones a little bit. Synthetic covered calls is a very fascinating concept to me. I don't know how effective it is. It's one of those things that, it looks pretty on paper, but we really don't know how it will perform in practice. So I do have some yield max ETFs. I only own like a share per yield max one just because I was like, you know what? Worst case is I lose out on $100 or something, right? But yeah, I like covered call ETFs though. My portfolio is not riddled with covered call ETFs, but it does have quite a few. The company doing a twice-a-week dividend stocks is Defiance. The Defiance ETFs, damn dude. That's our girl, Sylvia Jablonski. One of her assistants did reach out to me though to try to schedule another interview, and honestly, I think Sylvia's great, but I've looked at some of the Defiance ETFs, and I can't say I'm completely all on board with a lot of their stuff. Fascinating, don't get me wrong, but some of the Defiance ETFs are a little bit whacked out, in my opinion. But, they're not too bad. Tim Smith says they are Defiance NASDAQ 100 Lightning Spread Income ETF, QLDY. Defiance S&P 500 Lightning Spread Income ETF, SSOY, and then Defiance Russell 2000 Lightning Spread Income ETF, IJRY. What'd be interesting is if they did a covered call, like a covered call ETF on the VT, the Vanguard Total World Index or something. That'd be cool. Jack's Cab Confession says, good answer, thank you. Yeah, I think covered call ETFs are a great alternative. This is not financial advice, but I think it's a terrible idea to have too many covered call ETFs. At least it's a bad idea to have the majority of your portfolio weighted in covered call ETFs. This is just my opinion. For instance, I keep about maybe 10% roughly of my portfolio into covered call ETFs for the most part. And it might even be lower than that. I think I'm being a little generous. It might be more like 6 or 7% of my portfolio is weighted in covered call ETFs. I don't rack up on them. Most of the time I take the derivative income and just invest into some other index ETF. That's usually how I do it. Tim Smith says, spread the lightning. This is good. It's good. But yeah, no, overall, and here's how I think it's going to affect. Here's how the big beautiful bill is going to affect a lot of other things. Ooh. So another reason to be bullish for U.S. stocks after this bill has been passed is there are going to be child tax credits and SALT deduction increase. This may boost consumer spending, beneficial for retail and service stocks. Yeah, so child tax credits and SALT deduction increases. That's kind of cool. So I think a lot of the best positioned sectors are going to be energy, industrials, financials, and tech because of this bill. As long as AI regulation relief continues. But like I said, the best positioned sectors are going to be the energy sector, industrials, financials, and tech. So you're probably going to see a lot of those stocks. You're going to see a lot of their share prices increase because of this bill. Now, let's get to bonds. I have to say bonds is a little bit of a mixed bag here. Now, there are higher deficits, which could mean higher yields, right? Think about it this way. Here's the benefit. It's uncertain. Now, the uncertainty depends on your bond holdings. That matters. So the bill raises the debt ceiling and adds $2.4 trillion to the deficit, which I'm not a big fan of. This is one of the big things. Spending bills, I understand, are necessary, but when it comes down to it, 2.4 trillion is a lot, and that adds to the deficit. Here's what this could do, though. This could lead to higher treasury yields. It's bad for bond prices in the short term, but it does increase inflation pressure, which is also going to hurt long-duration bonds. That's a big deal. But short-term bonds and inflation-protected bonds, TIPS, may outperform. Higher interest rates does equal better future income from newly invested bonds, right? So like the best positioned bond strategies would be like short duration bond ETFs. I think SHY would be one of them. One of the and when I say SHY, I mean that's the ticker symbol SHY. VGSH would be another one. TIPS, which would be the inflation protected bonds, which are there's some ETFs that you can get to expose yourself to those, not financial advice. SCHP, and then the VTIP is one of them. You got floating rate bonds, which is like FLOT is one of the ETFs. I think I can't remember all the ticker symbols for the most part, but I think I'm right on that one. Real quick, I'm going to check the comment section here. Let's see. Tim Smith says the Defiance Lightning Spread strategy is designed to generate daily income. Distributed twice a week, the fund will utilize put and call options on index ETFs. Wait a minute. Index, the fund will utilize put and call options. Interesting. I'm not sure if I feel like I had proposed that at some point. Oh my God. I would be honored though if Defiance was stealing some of my ideas. I feel like that kind of, I mean, even if they did steal it, I wouldn't really care. But it's an interesting strategy. S47AS says, hey, it's the Diddy guy. That's me, White P. Diddy. I'm the White Diddy. Oh, it's so good. This chili mac is solid. Look at that. I'll make sure you guys can see me eat this. We're celebrating. We're celebrating the big, beautiful bill. Trump makes me hump. Trump makes me hump. Now, who will be the most pissed off about the big, beautiful bill? Obviously, it's going to be a lot of whiny liberals getting pissed off, getting real upset. This always happens. The liberals come out of the woodwork just to get very angry and pissed off, right? That happens. But it's going to be interesting. So overall, how does this bill affect other things? We're going to go into the commodities markets real quick because I think it's important that we talk. I love talking about commodities like gold, silver, oil, you name it. I love all that stuff. Gets me going, gets me rock hard. So we're going to talk about commodities, right? Energy and border funding drive demand, right? So here's the thing. The benefit is I think it's a good idea to be very bullish. This is just my opinion. This is not financial advice. This is just my personal opinion. I think it's good to be very bullish for certain commodities in this instance. For example, $70 billion in border infrastructure and surveillance boosts demand for raw materials like steel, copper, and concrete. That's a big deal. There will be massive defense spending, higher need for industrial materials and fuels, a rollback of clean energy subsidiaries, slows renewables, extends oil and gas dominance, and bullish for crude oil and natural gas. So those benefit a lot. And there's going to be cuts to ESG regulations. Could stimulate fossil fuel production and transport, which will be good. Get rid of a lot of the annoying regulations, and we're on the right path. Not all regulations are created equal, by the way. Oh. JazzCab Confession says, is there a difference between MAGA and GOP? Well, MAGA's making America great again, right? I mean, I think a lot of people who are MAGA love the grand old party. I love the party of Lincoln. That's the Republican Party I like the most, is the party of Abe Lincoln. That's what I'm talking about. I think that's the type of party that MAGA's trying to get back. The party of Lincoln. And I believe that. I love Abe Lincoln. He honestly is one of my favorite presidents. He's pretty dope. He's the man. Let's see. Tim Smith says, big and beautiful again, Exxon surges 1.34%. I mean, I'm not surprised that a lot of the energy companies are going up in value. That makes a lot of sense to me. So here are the best positioned commodities, and here are a few potential ticker symbols, if I can remember these ticker symbols properly. If I get them wrong, sorry about it. But oil, which USO is one of the ETFs, if I remember right, and then XLE. Natural gas, UNG would be a ticker symbol. Industrial metals would be another one, which would be CPER is one ticker symbol, and then PICK would be another. And then there's like broad commodity ETFs like PDBC and then DBC, which basically allow you to get exposure to a bunch of different commodities all kind of laced into one single ETF, which is pretty fun. Damn, this chili mac is so tasty. That's what I'm talking about right here. What's red? So Jack's Cab Confession says, what's red and smells like blue paint? A rhino, a Republican in name only. Oh, Jazz Cab Confession says red paint. Oh yeah, I dig it. Mm-mm-mm. Woo. I'm sorry I'm eating in front of you guys. I'm a hungry man. Mm. All right. I'm going to steal the spray. Stealing the spray. Oh. Here we go. Oh. Need that carbonation. Jack's Cab Confession says, enjoy your food, Garza. You are the man. Thank you for the content. Thank you for checking out the content, my brony brother. I appreciate it big time, man. I know Jack's Cab Confessions and I, sometimes we argue about Bitcoin and stuff, but overall, I enjoy arguing with people. As long as they're okay with arguing, of course. Developing Trump opens alligator Alcatraz in Florida. Interesting. Let me see here. I do want to kind of go over my summary real quick of the big beautiful bill and how it affects stocks, bonds, and commodities. So, for stocks, one of the key benefits is higher profits from tax cuts and deregulation. Risk to watch, though, overheating economy, potential inflation. That's a big deal. However, potential inflation, usually stocks are fairly inflation proof. Not perfect, but they're fairly inflation proof. As far as bonds go, higher yields in the future, income boost long term. Some of the risks that you may need to watch, by the way, are like short-term losses if rates rise too fast. Yeah, it just depends on how quickly the rates raise, if they do. They could go lower, who knows? Commodities, so with commodities, there will be boosted demand via infrastructure, defense, oil, and oil dominance. Some of the risks to watch: global slowdown or China's demand weakens, something like that. So overall, the big beautiful bill is designed to stimulate growth, favor business, and boost infrastructure and defense spending. It generally benefits, like I said, stock investors, especially if you're in energy, defense, and construction. Honestly, it's always good to be invested no matter what happens in the world. I think it's always good to be diversified in stocks. Commodity holders like raw materials and energy, especially, those people are going to benefit a lot. If you have gold and silver, that'll help too. Bond investors, they may need to pivot a bit. It's probably I think in most people's best interest to avoid long-term treasuries. I think leaning into a short duration and floating rate or inflation protected assets, stuff like that. Here's the thing. I am very much, I like to try to encourage people, if they're going to get into bonds, to be diversified within bonds as well. And I mean the total bond market. There are ETFs that expose you to the entirety of the U.S. Bond market, and there are ETFs that expose you to the entirety of the international bond market. It does mitigate risk when you could be very, very spread out into bonds. I will say that. So if you're highly diversified into bonds, that really helps. And ETFs can give you that diversification and that ability to mitigate your risk. I hope that helps in some way, though. Yeah, it's interesting. I think some of the things we're gonna see. Tim Smith says developing Trump was. Oh yeah, I kind of was looking into that. I don't know what that's all about. The alligator Alcatraz in Florida. So Michael Donaldson asks, "Did you quit your job?" No, I did not quit my job. Believe you me, I've thought about it, but I realized that honestly, with at the rate they're paying me, I'm just gonna suck it up. Just because my supervisor sucks, you know, we'll see what happens. If I get fired, I get fired. I'm not gonna think. I'm not gonna think about it. It's just another source of income for me. I clock in. I do the job well, and if my supervisor wants to give me crap for whatever, yeah, she can go screw herself. She can royally just. That's all I could say. Tim Smith says it's a new detention center for migrants surrounded by. Oh my god, surrounded by alligators. That's a little extreme, but kind of interesting. That'd be tough to break out of. That'd be a tough jailbreak. That'd be honestly a very, very tough jailbreak. Mm. Thank you for this chili mac. That is kind of crazy though. Surrounded by fucking alligators, it's so freaky. Hmm. That's wild to me, man. Holy crap. I don't know what to say about that. So, what are your guys' thoughts on the big, beautiful bill? Do you guys think it'll be successful? Do you guys think it's a little extreme? Here's the thing. As an investor, I think it does help with the deregulation and stuff like that. If you're an investor in stocks, I think overall, because I'm in all sorts of different I'm in all sorts of different asset classes. I'm in stocks, I'm in commodities, I'm in bonds. I'm in all three of those particular asset classes. And of course, within commodities is a very general term for a lot of different things. Um, when I say commodities, man, there are many classifications for commodities. We got gold, we got silver, we got oil, we got soybeans, the works. And so one of the things for me, I like to be spread out when it comes to my risk and my various investments. Like I said, I'm diversified in stocks, I'm diversified in bonds, I'm diversified in commodities as well, for the most part. For the most part. I like to make sure that I'm exposed to everything I can be. Um, but yeah, what are your guys' thoughts on the big beautiful bill? Actually, you know what? Let me start a poll. All right, so Tim, I saw Tim had a message, but it looks like the message got retracted. It is possible that oh, here we go. Here we go. Tim Smith says, I agree with Yarvin. Money is fake. Cash is just shares of the U.S. government. Yeah, no, here's the thing. If truth be told, cash is not money. Cash is a currency. Currencies and money are two different things. You know, cash, I will say, cash used to be money when it was backed by gold. When you could actually trade your notes, your dollars in for gold, that's when cash used to be money. But it's not backed by anything, so there's no point in holding cash. I don't. I hate holding cash. That is like the one thing I cannot stand holding. I like to invest my money. Well, I like to invest my cash the moment I get it. Tim Smith says you don't stay in bankruptcy. You don't panic your way out. You restructure. Yeah. And that's the thing, man. As far as it goes, I don't trust cash at all. I don't trust the dollar. I don't trust any currency for that matter. I don't trust digital currencies. I don't trust physical currencies. I think they're all pointless. I mean, they're not pointless, but I don't think that they don't maintain their value over time because they're not backed by anything. That's why they're called currencies. You know. Let's see. Let's see. Turnsnotko says, "Will Diddy be Diddy in prison? He will be giddy in prison because there's a lot of white guys there." Let's see. Tim Smith says my first message got deleted. Tim Smith, yeah, YouTube is being anal. That's the one thing about YouTube, man. YouTube can be real anal sometimes about certain types of wordings and word choices. It's really strange. Tim Smith says, Curtis, I can't stop hoping Elon will snort a huge rail of K and realize this. Tim Smith says, damn it, it deleted another of my messages. Tim Smith says, if you have to burn the Constitution and go another $10 trillion in debt to save the country, so be it. Money is fake and the Constitution is dead. Time is running out. Oh man. This is what Tim Smith is saying. This, I think, was what Curtis Yarvin was saying. And Tim Smith also says fiat currency is government equity. America cannot go bankrupt. America is bankrupt. America has been bankrupt since 1930s. Wow. That's a wild thing to think, if I'm going to be honest. That's a wild concept. She. I'm it's a good way, it's an interesting way to look at it. I mean, we are already in debt. I would like to see the debt go down though, because we're still paying pretty crazy amounts of interest on a lot of that debt. And if we could at least reduce the debt to manageable levels, we don't have to be so underwater with interest payments. Because if we default on our payments, man, that's no good, man. A default on those payments would be very, very bad. Wild, man. I'm gonna get more chili mac. Hold on. Okay. Here we go. This shit is good. Mm-mm-mm. Chili mac is so good. It's all you need, man. All you need is chili mac. It's the Garza method. Oh, my buddy sent me. My buddy Nathan sent me a video. It's when the jurors had to watch the
We'll get through
freak off
Members of the
videos.
jury, you may now begin briefing the evidence. Okay, this isn't so bad. Fuck! Why is there so much oil? How many termites is this? What? This whole thing is 360p or 480i? But why are there so many timestamps? Okay, whose hole is that? Because I don't have that logged. What the fuck is that? Can we do the verdict right now? Man, is that orange Gatorade cooler all oil? That's efficient, nostalgic, and horrifying. Freaky ass, abusive, terrible person. Man, how'd they get the Phantom and the G-Wagon in the living room at the same time? That's cool as hell. Oh, shit! Man, this dude was having a freak off on 9/11. I mean, that's really... Whatever, who gives a fuck? 2009. Pop it, back shots. Peanut butter, slip and slide. Still no smiles. Oh, great, now he's in the studio. Bro, we don't need to be seeing him produce and stuff. Like, this is... I've never heard this. Who was this beat for? Honestly, it's not that bad. Man, this is crazy. How they still got the stone crab and the hamachi ceviche buffet going at 6 a.m. Is that even him? Hey, Bob, give me profile real quick. Don't you lick your lips and stare at me, okay? Okay, that is you. Thanks, man. I love that actor. He's in so much stuff. He works a lot. Okay, now he's bare ass stomping that little cake. So that's all ketamine. That's going. Okay, that's all moved up. That's all.
That's a good one. My buddy Nathan just sent that to me. That was pretty funny. That's what the scenario he was portraying is when the jurors have to watch the freak out videos, they're gonna see a lot of weird shit, and that's their reaction. That's my boy Andrew Russo right there. Total stud, by the way. Oh man, all this Diddy talk is getting me hungry. So we got 3 votes on the poll. The big beautiful bill is great. 67% of you say great. 33% of you say it's awful. Understood. Interesting. Well, I mean, what's a man to do? But my predictions for this bill are going to be that it might help a lot of investors. Now, if you're a bond investor, you might be kind of fucked. I think bonds are the ones that get hurt the most by all this. I think stocks and commodities end up being the winners for this big, beautiful bill. Now, I'm not a big fan of government overspending. This bill is a big bill, but hopefully there are net positives to this bill. Hopefully. Mm. Now, how the question I want to ask is how does this affect those crypto investors? One moment. I'm looking up a little bit of information. So what I'm thinking, here's my thoughts on it. All right. So there might be potential crypto tax relief. All right. So Cynthia Loomis proposed amendments to exclude small transactions under $300 up to $5,000 a year from taxable events and delay taxation on staking, mining, and airdrop rewards liquidation. However, these amendments did not make it into the final Senate version. They'll likely be revisited when the bill returns to the House. Let's see. Bottom line, though, is it's a partial victory. Signals by pro crypto lawmakers, which I think it's a victory for you crypto bros out there. But honestly, I'm not a big, you know me, I bet against Bitcoin and all cryptocurrency. I bet against you guys. Now, there's still going to be a lot of volatility, though. I think there's going to be a lot of uncertainty because without finalized tax clarity, crypto markets could react with volatility. It's usually how they react, particularly if the House strikes down or reworks the crypto provisions. A lot of broader sound like Alex Jones. You know, if you want to sound like Alex Jones, you just got to do this with your voice. You got to sound real gravelly and, turning the freaking frogs gay. Overall, that Tim Smith says breaking Trump threatens to sick Doge on Elon and deport him back to Africa for being against the big beautiful bill. That's crazy. Damn it. I actually like Elon. I think Elon is a net positive overall. But I do understand his reservations towards the bill. I get it. Yager says we are ranchers. Things are gonna be good. Okay, so things are gonna be good for Yagers at least, which will be great. So as long as that big beautiful bill helps you out, man, that's important. As long as it helps a few people out. Like I said, I'm still not a big fan of big spending bills overall. But if it ends up being a net positive for America as far as getting infrastructure back, you know, securing the border, that sort of thing, I think I'm for it. Yager says, Tim, I hadn't heard that. Where did you hear that? Trump posted it on True Social today, says Tim Smith. Damn, dude. It's crazy. We're living in a very strange time. That's all I gotta say. That's all I know. I'm going to get more chili mac. I'll be right back. All right. Okay. Yager says, Tim, OGs. Tim Smith says, we need more Chili Mac DEI, Chili Mac Pizza, Chili Mac D. Okay, Chili Mac Pizza, Chili Mac Potato Skins, Chili Mac Chalupas. Actually, I haven't had a chalupa in a long time, man. That sounds so good. But yeah, no, diversity, equity, inclusion. You got to include all these different Chili Macs. Yager said, I brought home some Chick-fil-A and Subway chocolate chip cookies. My man, dude. Dude, that sounds really good. I haven't had me some Chick-fil-A in a while. That stuff's tasty. Well, actually, I take that back. I've never actually had Chick-fil-A. I've had the sauce. And I've been able to buy that stuff in the store. So I take that back. I've never been. I'm thinking of Subway, the chocolate chip cookies. My bad. Tim Smith says Chili Mac, Chick-fil-A, Chick-fil Mac. Dude, Chili Mac is what? Says Yager. So, Yagers for Chili Mac is basically just macaroni noodles. You boil those and then you just combine them with the chili. I like to put a lot of cheese in the chili while I'm cooking the chili. I take the noodles and I combine them into the chili, and it is gold. It is gold. This is what Chili Mac is meant to look like right here. This is what perfection looks like right there. Oh my goodness. I mean, yeah, you could put eggs in the Chili Mac for sure. There's no reason why you couldn't. Actually, that'd be kind of neat actually, putting eggs in there. Crap. Hold on. Spilled. All right, my pussy's back. Woo. Yager says cheese in the chili. Oh, yum. Hell yeah. Shit's good. Yeah, man. Chili Mac's the best, dude. Yager's is the best, man. Everybody loves my boy Yager's Farm, by the way. Mr. Jim, kicking butt. Woo! Yeah, dude, this is the shit. Mm. Mm. Yeah, I just had a whole little pot of it. See, this is why it's great having my kitchen as a backdrop, because you can see the slop that I'm cooking, right? Mm. Mm. Tim Smith says, Curtis, winning is about. So Curtis Yarvin says, winning is about creating our institutions and liquidating theirs. Winning is about changing power. Power will get results. Even just liquidating is weak. Tim Smith says, Tim Smith is quoting Curtis Yarvin again. More impact in sending $1 to our friends than taking $1,000 from our enemies. Interesting. Curtis has some interesting thoughts, man. Curtis, man. Curtis Yarvin's a fascinating dude. I've watched a lot of his content, at least a lot of his interviews with like podcasters and stuff like that. Yager says, I sold FFA sweet corn today, 8:45 a.m. to 8:20 p.m. I'm freaking burnt like hell. I'm worn out. Now I have to tackle down trees, washed out driveway, and weed-eating Johnson grass. Damn, man. Dude, you're a busy man, Mr. Yagers. You're a busy man. Yager says, Tim is the wise one of the family. Tim's a wise boy, dude. Tim is our zaddy at this point. Tim Smith says, Curtis is for the big, beautiful bill. He's for setting up new systems, not necessarily cutting waste and slash spending. I see the point for sure, because I mean, the most progressive thing would be to set up new infrastructures, new systems that can at least help keep our economy going. So that makes sense as long as there's the infrastructure available. Yager says, Alligator Alcatraz. I don't know much about that prison, but that's going to be wild, man. It's going to be wild. I will say the Big Beautiful Bill is an interesting one, that's for sure. Don't know where it all leads, but it's fascinating. Now, when you make chili mac, like I said, I recommend putting the cheese in the chili, letting it melt in the chili, and then dumping the chili into the noodles that you've already boiled. Yager says, I do love the big, beautiful bill. Then there is a pile of it. I think is yeah. So some of the big, beautiful bill, I can't say I'm a pure expert on this bill. I've read a few things because I got curious, but I'm fascinated by it. I think that our government already wastes a ton of money anyway. Hopefully this is towards some infrastructure, because that's what I really want to see, is some damn infrastructure, man. But I'm ready. Well, I'm excited about this big, beautiful bill, guys. I mean, it really is. It honestly is pretty sexy. Gosh, chili mac is so good. This is a celebration we need. Hey, we got 4 likes on the video, by the way. This is awesome. I really appreciate all the likes, you guys. It really, really helps the channel, helps the videos grow, helps us reach a wider audience. So any likes, any subscribes you can give, mucho appreciato. It'll be interesting, man. I'm a fan of the big, beautiful bill. It's very sexy.
Sure, it's called body.
Oh, the Warriors are in touch with Dame Lillard. Oh my goodness. Mr. Jim from Yoggers is asking, what does it taste like? Does it taste like goulash? It's honestly pretty tasty, my man. If I were to describe what chili mac tastes like, I would say come. No, I'm just kidding. No, chili mac tastes. You can definitely taste the cheese, but there are certain things that blend in really well about chili mac. The noodles feel richer. The meat, the beans, the sauce, the cheese, and the noodle, they all combine into one. You just stir it for a little bit. I stirred it about roughly 5 minutes. I was really doing some hard stirring to make sure that shit was right. Overall, though, chili mac is probably one of the greatest culinary dishes of all time. I think we can all admit that. Here, here. Um, Yager says, do you think possible Trump and Elon are messing with the Democrats' heads by having the Democrats believe there is a riff? It is possible that a lot of their spats on social media may be, what do you call it? Theater. It may be theater, potentially. I wouldn't be surprised. Wouldn't be surprised at all. But we shall see what the end result may be. What do you guys think? Do you guys think it's a bit of pure theater? Tim Smith says Canada launches new conservative coffee company, Resistance Coffee Co. Try their fossil fueled dark roast. Notes of chocolate, toasted almonds, sun dried vanilla, and poached pear. Mmm. That sounds kind of tasty. Hey guys, make sure you like the video and subscribe, please. We need it. It helps us out a lot. Or just like the video. That's enough for me. Yagers asks, have you ever had a goulash? My mother would make a goulash similar to what you're eating. That's possible. I would say, I mean, I just combine a lot of stuff together. That's really all my cooking is. I guess that's my mom's not necessarily the greatest cook in the world, but I always appreciate anything that she cooks me though. I'm not the greatest. I'm not a very good cook. I'm a very shitty cook. Yager's Farm says, Tim, I have only taken a swig of coffee once. Tim, what is a poached pear? Coffee's great, man. I love coffee. You know, if there's one thing I will drink on occasion, it is a good amount of coffee. I do love energy drinks though. I'm more of an I love that energy drinks exist. I pop open an energy drink in the morning and I get to work. You know, I start working, man. It's the way to do it. This is exciting though. I'm just really happy to see everybody on the chat interacting and you know, the one thing I will say about this show is I feel like you guys have helped create an interesting culture on YouTube of we're just dudes who like to be ourselves and it's fun, you know. We're dudes who like to be ourselves and it's a very simple concept and um I'm just happy I get to interact with such interesting individuals. You know, I got my friends and they're interesting individuals. I got you guys. You guys are interesting individuals. Everybody's just, I'm a blessed dude at the end of the day. I'm a very blessed man to have good family, good friends, even good people on the internet who like to talk to me. I appreciate it big time, you guys. You guys have no idea. Let's see. Tim Smith says, check out Tim Dillon's NYC tour. Story makes Joey Diaz laugh. Real quick, I'm going to read the rest of these comments. Yager says, my mother was a badass cook, so was my grandmother. Energy drinks, I believe, are just awful. I don't know why, but I love energy drinks. Like, they're the closest thing to crack that I'm ever going to take. It's the closest I'm ever going to get to crack is energy drinks. Or Tim Dillon ongoing from, let's see, Precochet and subprime mortgages to comedy. That'd be an interesting one. Hold on. Just checking something real quick, guys. Hold on. All right, let's take a few more moments. Sorry about that, folks. Yeah, I definitely want to see the. I'm going to look at the Tim Dillon on going from Percocet and subprime mortgages to comedy. Yeah, let's see here. Give me one moment, folks. I'm going to pull this shit up.
When did you start doing comedy?
2010.
What made you get up?
What made me do it the first time?
Yeah.
I was in the mortgage business, and in 2009,
College educated?
no, dropped out of community college to do Percocet and sell subprime mortgages. In
We will
Long
start
Island,
this
which
from
I
the
still
beginning
believe
in
is
just a second.
what I will return to. I believe stand-up is a sabbatical from my true calling, which is to work in a strip mall and have great lunches.
Give me 1 second, then I'm going to put it on display here.
Serious lunches and take Percocet and telemarket mortgages in the tri-state area. All over the country, but the tri-state area we hit because you could go and sit down at the table and have a meeting. That I remember we were in the Melville Marriott, and there was a CEO of a really big bank there, and he was hammered. And he looked at me and a few young kids, not young, we're like 24, you know? And he said to us, he goes, boys, there's a cold wind blowing. And he was just, he was just knocking back booze. You know, this guy had a family, had a big house, and he was leveraged, you know, all this was, you know, he had, you know, so he.
Are you ready for retirement?
No.
Our free retirement planner shows you where you
Skip.
And I was like looking around the office, and I was like, we're done. We're dead in the water. It's like, it's over. It's over. There's no coming back from this. My life is done. And then I was like, I'm 25. I'm not educated. What am I going to do? And I walked into a coffee house tattoo parlor on Long Island because one of my friends gave me the name of an open mic. He goes, go do this open mic and see what happens.
Any interest in comedy growing up?
I mean, I loved like, you know, I would see Carlin. He'd be great.
So, it's crazy, man. I will say this about Tim Dillon. He got into it. It's interesting how he became basically. He's a little bit of a grifter for sure, but he started out doing grifty things like, you know, selling mortgages to people who didn't deserve those mortgages because it was just too far out of their budget, that sort of thing. And it's a bit of a grifter behavior, but I think he made up for it. I think he made a good comedy career exposing the idiocies of common society. I think it's important. By the way, Yuggers Farm says, I'm a square, y'all. I don't drink liquor, smoke cigarettes, smoke dope, suck, ass play, eat puss, eat fried shrimp, eat gravy, eat goat, tattoos, ear pierce, take pills, follow Democrats, and that's funny, man. Yoggers, I mean, you're a straight edge mofo, dude. You're straight edge as heck, and I appreciate it, brother. I'm a little bit of a degenerate, though. I still drink alcohol, but for the most part, I just love caffeine and a little bit of alcohol here and there.
I remember once when I was coming down from shrooms, first year at college, somebody showed me Bill Hicks, his set at Montreal. I think it was Revelations, or Relentless. I forget which one it was, where he's in the black turtleneck, and he opens up. He goes, I was for the war. He goes, we had a war in the States, and he goes, I was in the unenviable position of being for the war, but against the troops. And I thought that was one of the funniest things I'd ever heard. And you're coming down from shrooms, you're like, wait, what the fuck? Did I even hear that right? And I watched that set, and I was really, like, drawn into that. But, I mean, as a kid, I loved SNL. I loved all that. And I was an actor from when I was 6 to when I was 12, child actor. So I was in plays. I auditioned for, you know, sitcoms.
By the way, we got 9 votes in. The Big Beautiful Bill is great. 78% of you say that. 22% of you say it's awful. It's going to be interesting. Let's see how the poll ignites, maybe we'll get a lot more pollsters, and you guys are going to be voting on this poll here pretty soon. The big, beautiful poll is what we're going to call it.
New York, all that shit. So I was like into theater and stuff like that, but nothing ever worked. I was a failed actor at 11. It was tough, you know. But I took a little break, and then 25 I got back in. So it was like I always had that bug, wanting to be on stage, wanting attention.
Once you got when you got back on that,
I understand that because I like having the spotlight on me, man. I like being in the arena. I like, I love playing basketball games when there's a crowd, I like playing my keyboard in front of a random audience. I love singing in front of random people. It's very fun. I definitely understand Tim's itch to be on stage of some kind, whether it's something as simple as comedy or just simply acting in a play or even acting in a TV show. I get it. I have that in me too, where I love performing and saying what's on my mind to several people. That's why I love doing the YouTube show. I know there's several people that's going to watch this later on, and they're going to be like either fapping or they're just going to be enjoying themselves. But yeah, no, I understand wanting to be on stage like that. That makes sense to me.
tattoo place.
Yes.
How did you feel when you got off the stage?
I said, okay, this is where I belong. I fit
That's
here.
it. That's
I
it.
fit here.
Yager says, Garza, I do too. Let's see. Sandblast says, my dog is... I'm not going to read that. Yager says, I do my best to walk a godly path. I have never watched this guy, Tim Dillon. Tim Dillon's pretty funny, man. He's a great comedian. He's got an interesting take on the world. He calls out a lot of the bullshit in society, and I appreciate it because there's a lot of stuff that's like, yeah, I see it too. I'm not crazy. Or,
I fit here, which was insane because it was a tattoo parlor cafe. And I said, the place didn't even make sense. But
Tim,
it's
Jim,
Long
and
Island,
Garza. I love it. Let's
so
see.
nothing makes sense. Like when you would bomb, you heard the needle go zzz, and then somebody getting a tattoo would go next, and then you go to the next joke. But it was, I was like, I'm just gonna keep coming back here, and I'm gonna follow everybody here to the next place they go, and to the next place they go, and then I just kept following people and going, where are we doing comedy? And that's how I got into it. And then eventually that led me to New York, and then it led me, years and years later to LA.
What year did you get on stage? 2010?
2010, September 2010.
When did you move to New York?
I moved to New York 2 years after that. 2 years after
And you
that.
were all in.
All in. Now, the first 2 years I was driving into New York City, and I did a lot of black rooms because black rooms would let you go up. A lot of the alternative rooms, they were, more selective. They were cunty, and you couldn't get into clubs. But black rooms would let you go up, urban shows. And they liked me. I was a big white guy. I was funny. And they were really fun. My friends loved going to these rooms because these guys were killer. I mean, we'd see Mike Epps, Smokey Suarez. These guys are just murderers. All my, some of my friends would come with me. And then when I went to the city, I started doing the alternative rooms, and girls would get up and open a Moleskine book. My friends stopped coming. They were like, "We've had enough of this." But that's what I did primarily for like the first 2 years was open mics, and then I would do, black rooms.
I feel like I'm getting a tutorial on how to get my stand-up comedy career started. You know what I mean? Because a lot of it, a lot of success from my study of success is persistence. Like you see a lot of people who are very successful in anything, they just kept persisting. They kept trying, even if they weren't good at it, or maybe they were a little good at it, but they wanted to get better. They just kept plugging away. They kept persisting. They kept learning. They kept trying. I will say that persistence has definitely been a big key to my success on YouTube so far. Because when I first started, I sucked, and a lot of people thought I couldn't get to where I'm at now. And, and here I am. I'm very happy about it. A little tired right now, so I don't seem very happy, but Yager says Tim, Jim, and Garza. I don't do well with comedians. I like life action comedy. When people do silly stuff like fart at a high school graduation and then the Valley girls behind me said that they could taste it. Oh, that's pretty funny, man. Hey, Yoggers, get it, brother. You get it. That's funny shit, dude.
in Brooklyn and in the Bronx. And then I would do, whatever you got. You get a club spot here, you get a club spot there. But then I moved in 2012, right before Hurricane Sandy, and I moved in with a married couple. And their marriage, they were just getting married. And that didn't last, that marriage. That was the second divorce I was maybe a part of. The first was.
Oh, we got somebody. Peggy P says the big beautiful bill is backloaded, so the effects won't be felt until after the midterms. Remember that when our 70 rural hospitals close without the funding from Medicaid, also many healthcare job losses. Well, there will be interesting results. I hope the effects are not too dire. I really do. I hope the effects aren't too dire for any, people working in healthcare or anything, but we shall see what the results are.
Was my parents. The second.
Peggy P, I'm assuming that you are of liberal orientation. Tim Smith says, "Hey Peggy, hillbillies." Yeah, honestly though, I mean, it sucks. Hey, look, it sucks if healthcare workers lose their job. I don't think there should be a lot of federal funding to hospitals to begin with, but I mean, sometimes it happens. I think that should be on the state level. States should be able to figure out their own stuff in their own budgets. That's my opinion, though. We'll see. We'll see.
Second one was, I probably share some blame for both of them, because nobody wants a 25-year-old guy like me moving in with you when you just get married. It's just not what it is. That's not. Nobody's
Why'd
like.
you move? Were they friends of yours?
They had a cheap room, $500 a month.
Yeah.
And they were comics, and they go $500 a month. Listen, the building was built in 1911. It's a railroad.
So now we're getting Tim's like moving to New York situation, like him kind of getting situated. When you're starting out, man, sometimes you got to have roommates. I get that. I had to have roommates back in the day when I was starting out my life. Oh, man. Let's see. Yager says many of the hospitals closed when COVID hit, then got a huge boost from the federal government, who gave $30,000 per each COVID patient. Oh, wow. Wow. That's a lot of money per COVID patient. Tim Smith says, thanks to Trump, U.S. can now spend less on health. Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's see. Yager says hospitals also were in dire straits due to the came into our country and didn't pay for their. Yep. That's another thing. Yager's hit it on the head. Tim Smith hit it on the head. Let's keep watching Tim Dillon real quick, though.
Apartment. It's a long hallway, and your room's on one end, our room's on the other. The shower is in the kitchen. So somebody's going to be washing their ass. Somebody's going to be making eggs. And the bathroom is in the hall of the building. But it's on 45th between 8th and 9th Avenue. You got every subway in the city.
Dolphin Tactic is asking, did you get your COVID vaccines? I got my 4th booster. I got 4 booster COVID shots in 1 week. I'm looking to get my 5th booster here real soon. I want to make sure that I really screw myself up by getting these COVIDs. No, I'm just kidding, by the way. JK, just kidding. No, do what you want. I did not get my COVIDs. I did not get my COVID shots. Nope. Nope. Yager said I never wore masks, got COVID shots, and traveled freely when yeah. I did wear a mask for a little bit, just because there were places that would basically tell me I couldn't enter without one. So I was like, fuck it, I'll put on the mask. I'll do what you say, Karen. Yeah, anyway.
You have a rooftop. You could go up and smoke cigarettes and tell your friends how fucking good you did at the open mic, which I, would do all the time. And they go, you can live here $500 a month. So I said, done, deal, in. So that's when I went. That's when I would consider all in, because then you're living in that situation. You're living with steam heat, and you're 25. You're 27 at that point. I'm 27. I'm by no means a kid, and I'm waking up every day. Because my foot touches a steam pipe and you get a 3rd-degree burn, and then you're rolling out of bed. And that's when I was doing comedy every night, and then during the day trying to sell photocopiers in Staten Island. Yeah, it's
Photocopies.
yeah.
On
The
phone?
jobs get sadder.
Oh no.
The jobs get sad. But I'm a sales guy. I'm full of shit.
Me too.
I'm
That's
full of
what I do.
shit, and I'm with people that are always also full of shit. My father's full of shit. My grandfather wasn't. He was a contractor. He worked, he was real. Worked with his hands, built things, made
You're
things.
not full of shit. You have the gift of gab.
Well, I like the way you say it.
There's a big
Tim Dillon actually, Joey Diaz is right on this one. Tim's got the gift of gab, just like my boy Tim Smith. Tim Smith also has the gift of gab. I actually honestly enjoy any conversation with my boy Tim. Always a fun time. Yager says I never took any of the. Oh yeah, I unfortunately did get the Pfizer one. I was really concerned about my mom because she was going through cancer treatment. So I was like, I might as well get this shot. So I did end up getting the shot, and I don't know what sort of health effects came out of that, but yeah. Yeah, never again though. Never again. That's all I gotta say.
difference.
Right. It's a good
There's
point.
a big difference in being full of shit
Right.
and being a gift of gab.
Right.
Okay, the gift of gab is you could just talk to people,
Yeah.
make them at ease,
Yes.
and sell them a product.
Yeah.
Sell them a product
Yeah.
that they don't need.
Yes. That they don't need and shouldn't have.
Okay, whether it's, when. Here's the funny thing. What we do as comics, when we realize that sales goes into it, that's when everything changes in our game.
Right. That's true.
When sales gets into it, you could be
Yeah.
the best comedian in the world. If you're not selling yourself, you're done.
You're fucked.
And it's so weird how my background in sales was impeccable.
Yeah.
When I bit into sales, I fell in love with it because I was uneducated.
Right.
I was GED, whatever.
Yeah.
And I knew I didn't want. There was a couple things I knew early on. A, I didn't want a day job.
Right.
That just was not going to work
Right.
in my world. And number two, I didn't want to fucking work for a certain wage every hour.
Right.
I wanted never to have a ceiling. That always made sense to me.
Yeah.
What does that mean? That you're a salesman. That
That's exactly right.
Some months you're going to make $800 and you suck it the fuck up.
And some you make $8,000.
And some months you make $8,000.
Yeah.
You suck it the fuck up.
Right.
And then you learn how to balance it. You learn how
Right.
to put away money.
The first month you make $8,000.
Yeah.
You're at a steakhouse. You got a porterhouse for two.
Fuck yeah.
You got a shellfish tower lobster.
Fuck
Put
yeah.
some blue claw crab on that too, please. Thank you
Yeah,
very much.
yeah.
Let's get a couple of gin martinis. Let's do the cheesecake. Bring all the appetizers. Lobster bisque.
That's too funny, man. That's killing me. Yoggers is saying in Tulsa, Oklahoma, the military was doing the COVID testing. This was during Biden's run. They hit me so hard with that 2-foot Q-tip. Got that one. Question: why was the military doing the COVID testing? People died in many areas. Damn, dude. It's wild. Yeah, I think a lot of people are very resentful towards the government after all the COVID stuff. Very resentful. That's why Trump won. Was really resentment of the government. We hate the government so much. We were like, F it.
Port in cups. We'll drink it while we eat the steak. And then it's like, then you realize you have to pay taxes because sales is the 1099. They give you $8,000. You didn't make $8,000, by the way. You now owe money. So I would get a check and then I would go out and spend money. And then I'd realize, oh, I owe money. Like I owe $4,000 of that goes to the government and I didn't pay any of it. So that was something too. But when I got into comedy,
you know, most drivers don't know that they can buy out their lease because it's not really talked about, right? It's not really talked about at the dealership. So the dealership always is.
the only job I could get was in Staten Island, and it was photocopiers and selling office equipment. Sad, because when you're selling real estate or mortgages, at least somebody around you's got a lot of money. And you could look at them and be like, well, I want to be that. I want to be, you know, my boss, this guy Tim, who had a big house and a pool. But when you telemarketing photocopiers Staten Island, everybody there is desperate, and they all have that job because it's in walking distance of their house, or they could take a bus. Many of them just had DWIs.
What do you mean bus? Half of them are halfway houses.
Right.
Half of them live in a shelter.
Yeah.
Half of them are toothless.
Yes.
They're alcoholics.
Yeah.
Half of those telemarketing.
Yeah.
House HBO
Yeah.
hasn't developed a show
I pitched one
about
there. Yeah.
12 telemarketers.
I know.
6 people who are fucking serious
Yeah,
about
dude.
life, and 6 people who live day to day.
Day to day.
Shoot heroin.
Right.
They got HIV, but part of the sales plan is cash.
Yes.
Okay, so there's jobs that, like, I had a great fucking job. I got a job at night when I did comedy right before I left for New York. I got a job from 5 to 9.
Yeah.
Easy.
Perfect.
5 to 9.
So those are the prime time
$10 an
hours
hour.
to pound the phone.
Pound the phone.
Pound the phone.
I think it was 10 an hour.
Yeah. And commission, plus commission.
25 an appointment.
Yeah.
Dude, that's a good deal. That's not bad, dude. You know, sales, I was decent at sales. I'll admit it. When I used to do it. But man, it's not easy all the time. Not easy. Sometimes you'll have a little bit of a lull period. You always got to refine your skills. That's one thing. Always got to refine those sales skills, make sure they're on point and everything like that. Yager says, incredible day-to-day. Trump will not. Oh, darn it. I didn't get to see the message.
You appointment setter.
He was an assurance guy.
Right.
And all I did was
Just get him in the door.
He had a sheet that he had
Yep.
already had contact with.
Of course.
And it was 25
Well, that's
an
perfect.
appointment. I would try to get 3 appointments an hour.
Yeah.
You get 3 appointments an hour, that's 75. That's fucking, $300-400 a night.
Yeah.
Plus the $8.
Yeah.
I used to sell cigars. Remember when cigars were popular?
Yeah, in the 90s,
I
they
was
were
an
insane.
open micer here.
Yeah.
When I became a regular at the store, the biggest job in LA was selling cigars on the
Wow.
phone. Sunset right across from.
Selling cigars on the phone. I'm trying to imagine what that would be like. I mean, you're probably selling to fairly wealthy people over the phone. And a lot of the leads that you would get that you'd have to call, you'd have to be like, hey, we got the best kind of cigars, the greatest you could ever imagine. You see, I'm all about selling people what they want or what they need. You know what I mean? Like, what are they looking for? What do they really want? Is this a product that they can utilize now, or would they resent having the product at this stage in their life? Yager says Trump brought UPenn to their knees. Oh, damn. Get it made, dude. Trump's doing a lot of victory laps right now, dude. He's really kicking butt. So this is exciting. Exciting. But no, I think what we're seeing is pure red wave, because I don't know how anybody in their right mind can vote for Democrats at this point, you know? Democrats kind of ruin shit. That's in my opinion, at least. Yager says, I hope P. Diddy loses everything he owns and tells the secrets of Hollywood rap and other freak-offs. I want to know more about these freak-offs. I want to know how freaky Diddy really got. Okay, as much as I would love to watch more of that, man, I'm a little bit burnt out from reacting to videos, but let's see. Oh, but thank you guys for being patient with me. I am the king of wishful thinking. Yeah, no, I like what Trump's doing with. I think the bill's interesting. I do think it's quite spendy though, and hopefully all the money is being spent to improve America. That's what I really want to see, is improvement in America. That's the goal. But we'll see what happens. I mean, you know, I believe that Trump has the best interest for America at heart. I really do. I don't think he's a dictator, although leftists will like you to believe he is. Yeah. One of the reasons I'm such a big Trump fanboy is because he really is the epitome of an individualist. You know, somebody who, you know, makes his own decisions, gets into the things that he's interested in. It matters. It really matters. So the poll, we got 13 votes, and let's see, the big beautiful bill is 62% of you say great, and then 38% of you say it's awful. Why is it so bad? Yager says, I know all about the freak-offs. I lived on the streets for a year and a half. Ooh. I'm not sure I want to know, Mr. Yagers, but hey, you know, I understand sometimes, you know, if you're in a shitty situation, sounds like you had to pull a few tricks, you know? I get it. Sorry, folks. I'm looking through a few things at the moment, trying to understand a couple pieces of information that I need to look at. Sounds like an intense time, though, my man. Sounds like an intense time. Let's see. Yager's Farm says, freak-offs are all sponsored by sexual predators, pseudo-molester, and the bad boys and girls. It definitely sounds like a pretty disturbing situation when people are in freak-offs, though. Like, all joking aside, I usually talk about the freak-offs, but my version of a freak-off is like, you know, how many things can you stick up your butt, that sort of thing. Or, you know, how long can you lick a dude's asshole, that sort of shit. You know, that's what I imagine a freak-off is. It's like, how freaky and disgusting can you get? And that's the assumption, at least. But yeah, some of those freak-offs, man, from the Diddy freak-offs, I'm curious. I want to know who all was involved, you know, like what celebrities, Was my boy Lididdy involved? Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm wondering. Lididdy. Yeah, but 62% of you are saying great. The Big Beautiful Bill's great. 38% of you are saying, hell no, it's awful. So a little split, not too split though. It's a pretty good amount. Let's see. I've been live for about 1 hour and 42 minutes. I'm a little bit tired at the moment. But I do appreciate you guys viewing this video, though. I really do. I think I just figured out a very interesting move. Let's see. Dolphin Tactics says, Yager's Farm, tell us some stuff. I want to hear that. And then Yagers asks, Dolphin, do you? Dolphin Tactics says, yes, please. Yager says, Garza, it can get crazy. Yeah, I can imagine, man. I've never been in a real freak off before. When I was younger, when I was younger, I was into, I guess you could say I wouldn't say it was a freak off, but it was definitely like a weird, like, kind of orgy sort of thing. It was weird. I can't really describe it. It was odd. It was about the closest to freak offs I could ever imagine. It wasn't even that bad. It's pretty cool, though. It's all about the freak offs. I'm ready. You guys ready? You guys think I got the guns for this, man? I got the guns. I got the jump shot. Boom. Yeah, Dolphin Tactics says freak off topic can bring a lot of viewers to the channel. Yes, absolutely. The people love the freak offs. I don't know what it is, but when it comes to getting freaky and the freak offs, people are just all about that lifestyle. Some people are, some people aren't. It just depends. But yeah, overall, here's a little more information about the Big Beautiful Bill. I'm not really much of a trend follower when it comes to investing. I just invest in things that I believe are naturally valuable. I don't really care much about what the market has to say about anything. All I care about is what is the thing that I'm investing in. So if I'm investing in Coca-Cola, I'm not really interested on how the market judges it. I do look at some of the analysts, ratings on certain stocks for sure, just to have a second opinion because the information's there. Why not? To see if it lines up with my conclusions. But a lot of the times, I like to value something based on its financials. If it's a stock, for instance, I want to know its balance sheets. I want to know its financial statements, all of them, as many as I can get, if I'm really interested in the company, that is. Another thing is, I can measure the value. I can measure the intrinsic value of a stock. That's important to me. I want to know, is it valuable or is it not? Is it well run? Is it not? If it's a good company, I'll be able to figure that out for the most part. But you never know. Like, it's why I'm never all in on anything. I may believe the company's good. The analysts may believe the company's good, but things can happen. Anything can happen in this world. And even though, as much as I love Coca-Cola, for instance, it's always possible for Coca-Cola to dip down. You just never know, man. You just never know. Let's see. Oh boy. Oh boy. Let's see. Oh geez. I'm not gonna read what Yoggers is talking about, but hey, Yoggers, man, if you want to get freaky in the chat, man, you get as freaky as you want. I just don't think I'm gonna read some of those. I'll just tell people, hey, check out Yoggers' comments right now. They're pretty steamy. They're pretty sexy. I don't think I could read them on air, but they're pretty hot. Troy T says, lol, what? I was recommended this. Troy, you're on the right channel. This was the channel for you. The algorithm knew. It was like Troy T likes to watch men do KY jelly wrestling. And that's why he's watching this show now. Because he likes to watch men wrestle with KY jelly on their bodies. Is that correct? Anyway. So Dolphin Tactics says, hey, Troy T, Freak Offs coming soon at this channel. So here's the thing, man. Are there going to be Freak Offs on this channel? That'd be cool. Do you guys think I should do some baby oil Freak Offs, Rub some baby oil. Do you think baby oil will look good in my hair? Put some baby oil in the hair? Yeah. It's probably not a bad idea. Made me look very sexy. Oh. I gotta do some stretching. Doing some exercise real quick. Hold on. 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. Oh, there we go. That's a freak off. That's called a yoga exercise ball freak off right there. Yoggers. Oh man. Wait. Men getting their sausages pumped up big? You talking about like, wait, we talking about cock pumps like the bathmate? You talking about like bathmate and like penis pumps and shit? Is that what you're talking about, Yoggers? Troy T says, lol, I did vote for Trump, so it could be it. I'm not into the freak off stuff. Yeah, no, we're pretty pro Trump on this channel, my man. I love it. But we're big beautiful Bill fans for the most part. I don't think it's that bad. I think it's a little spendy, but it does seem like the heart of the bill seems like it's in the right place, and it seems like we might be able to get some infrastructure that is desperately needed. We'll see what happens, though. We'll see what happens. Troy T just has a laughing emoji, and then Yager says, Troy, I'm not into freak offs. However, when I was younger in 20s, I'd seen a lot of things and was messed with. You got to do what you got to do, man. All them freak offs. But yeah, overall, I mean, the big beautiful bill it's something. Am I sure that I'm all about the big beautiful bill life? I think it's, might be on the right track with it. I don't know. We'll see how it all goes. We'll see how it all lands. Ooh. Yoggers is all about the freak offs, man. I knew it. Hold on, you guys. I'm going to see if I got any apple juice real quick. I'll be right back. Hold on. All right. Give me one more moment, though, folks. I gotta do one more exercise. Two, 3. Oh, yeah. Yager says, like I said, I do my best to walk a godly path. I still have my mind and seeing what I saw. Nah, I can understand, man. Sometimes we all get a little freakiness in all of us, man. I get it. I gets it. Troy T says, think we will get it before July 4th. Troy T says the market would rip because it's pro-growth. Yeah. Honestly, here's the thing. I think that everything Trump is doing is pro-business, pro-growth. He wants less regulations, and I'm all for it. I think there's too many regulations, and we have too much of a dependency on the federal government. I believe that, honestly, the dependency that the American people have on the federal government is a level of toxicity that I cannot be on board with. So I am happy about deregulation, getting rid of federal agencies, trying to spend a little more money on infrastructure in general, and try to make America great. I'm fine with it. So, yeah, I think it's going to be great for stocks. This bill's actually going to be great for the energy sector. It's going to be good for commodities as well. Oh my goodness. And I'm already heavily invested in the markets, so no matter what, I mean, I think it's going to be pro everybody. I have a lot of international stocks as well, so that's another benefit. All my international companies are going to go up as well as a result. I think it's going to be a net positive in the name of capitalism. So I think we're walking a new path. I think people are tired of the Democrat way because, one, the Democrats, I mean, honestly, look it up. The Democrat Party invented the KKK. It's a terrible party. It only got worse. It's only gotten worse over time. And honestly, Democrats are basically smug Karens that are way too into themselves. You know, I think they're too busy wanting to tell everybody what to do when they don't know what to do with themselves. So yeah, I vote. I don't ever vote for Democrats anymore. If you say you're a Democrat, I know you're crazy. And I'm not saying everybody who is a Democrat is crazy. That's a little bit of a blanket statement. What I'm trying to say is this, though. If you're a politician running on the Democratic platform, you're aligning with psychopaths. And you're not walking a moral path. Even though you say you are, you're not. So, just saying. I'm not saying that I walk a moral path. I like Trump, but I know he's far from... He's far from perfect, but I think he's effective. What matters to me is effectiveness. I don't care what your background or your life is. Are you an effective person? I think Trump's pretty effective. People can say what they want. I think it's pretty impressive to turn millions of dollars into billions, if we're going to be honest. So I like Warren Buffett. He turned millions into billions. You know, it's cool. Let's see. Troy T says facts. Dolphin Tactics said Coos passed the bill to open gay club called Steamy Tree Trunk. I would love. I think it would be great if Coos at a gay bar. You know what I mean? Because I think Coos Bay needs one. I think that Coos Bay might have the most closeted homosexual population in the U.S. Like if we were to have a closeted freak off, I think Coos Bay has the most closeted gay men in Oregon or in the United States, if I'm going to be honest. So, yeah, it's closeted gay men galore, though. Straight up. Yager says freak offs include rape and unwanted things. Drugs make people do crazy stuff. Big drugs, that's what happened. Jamie Foxx here a couple years back. Damn, dude. Yeah, I mean, as much as I joke about the freak offs, that shit is some serious weird shit, man. Not on board with that. Not at all. I can't really be on board with it, but I do like to joke about it, though. Because it is weird. You know, when I think of freak offs, I think about people just shoving stuff up their butt and doing just a couple weird things. That's what I'm thinking. But I got to realize, man, this is Hollywood. They're doing cray shit. My boy N-word, says agree. Who's ever identified as a Democrat gets viewed as a beta cuck who cooks for their wife's boyfriend. No love to them, especially Canadians from Asia. No. I mean, look, if you vote Democrat, you know, more power to you. You do your thing. I just think the Democrat Party has lost their way. I think it's become a party of authoritarians who love to tell people what to do. I think the Democrat Party has ironically become the party of the pearl clutchers. You know, clutching my pearls and offended. It's just I really can't stand people who get that offended about stuff. It's tough to be around people who are offended by everything. It's like, just get over yourself. Get over yourself. Like, nobody cares. Like, there are bigger fish to fry in this world. You know. Anyway. Let's see. Dolphin Tactics says Trump far from to be young again. Yager's Farm says, did you also hear Chuck Schumer change the Big Beautiful Bill to Big Beautiful Bill Act? Heck yeah. But yeah, and overall, no, I just think that the Democrat Party's become a bunch of complaining Karens who just want to be offended by everything and want to point the finger at people and say this person's evil because they have one thought that varies from the collective. The Democrat Party's become a lot like the Borg, very collectivized. They don't really have their own individual thoughts. They just kind of mimic what each other say, what each other's saying. It's just really an entire party of mimicry. And that's kind of what a group is. You know, when a group becomes too reliant, when individuals become too reliant on the group to think for them, they stop thinking for themselves, and then they just start mimicking whatever they can. And then what's funny is groups of people actually get stupider and stupider and stupider the more that they rely on groups. So then stupid people are really just then mimicking stupid people. And then the cycle gets worse. So that's why collectivism's shit, because groups of people are stupid and individuals are smart. Just like Agent K said to Agent J, a person is smart, people are dumb. And it's probably one of the smartest, probably one of the most profound statements, ironically, from a movie, Men in Black. But it's true. A person is smart and people are dumb. When people are in a group, they just become pieces of shit. And when individuals are left to their own devices, they become a little more thoughtful. You know, they listen to other individuals. They use critical thinking skills. And this is one of the reasons why I sometimes don't like to look at the chat during a live video, because I will look at the chat, but I'll try to get my thoughts out, and really come up with, formulate my own independent thinking. It's important, man. Yager says sphincter play and freak out. Oh, really? They do a lot of sphincter play? Well, that's a little strange. I didn't know they were getting all up in the sphincter. That's weird. All right, you guys, before we end the stream, I'm not going to end it just yet, but I think we're kind of getting to the witching hour. Hold on. Where wins become losses. Losses become wins. All right? So, here we go. First off, let's take a look at the polls. 68% of you think the Big Beautiful Bill is great. 32% of you think the Big Beautiful Bill is awful. That's sad. I was really hoping that there would be more pro Big Beautiful Bills people, but we're not going to see that. Damn, Yoggers, you're getting into the weeds here with this. I'm not going to read what Yoggers is saying, but if you guys are curious about Free Cops, man, look at the chat. Take a look at the chat, and you're going to see some interesting stuff. Sphincter play is what he's talking about. I think this is fascinating, by the way. Only reason I'm not reading it live on air is because I'm afraid YouTube will ban me. It's getting a little too in the weeds, but I like it, though. That's what this show's about. I like people in my chat really saying whatever the hell they want. It's great, even if it's disgusting. But I know Yoggers is just really being educational. He's trying to let people know that, hey, this is what happens in these types of things, man. Freak offs are a real thing. That's crazy, man. Man, Yoggers, dude. Pinky up, dude. Pinky up. My goodness, man. I had no idea the Free Cops were so intense. Like, I really didn't. Like, I had zero clue. That's crazy. You guys, make sure you guys like the video and subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate it. It helps us out a lot. It helps us grow. Helps my dong grow. I mean, my dong isn't really growing at this point, but that's okay. Country folk get... Oh, my goodness. Ooh. That's crazy, man. That's been a lot of freaky things that happen. So, all right, you guys. So what are some topics or concepts that you guys would like me to try to cover on this channel? Whether I agree with them or not, by the way. So, like, for example, let's say you guys want me to start talking about the benefits of Bitcoin. I mean, that would be impossible for me to do because I literally think it's a net negative to society. But I could try it. I could try my best to play devil's advocate on that one. But honestly, you guys can let me know what you would like to see on this channel. Like, what would you like to hear me speak about? You know? It's important. I really do want to know you guys' thoughts. I mean, like, even if it's something simple, a topic, preferably investment related, usually regarding some kind of investments. We could do benefits of freak offs. I mean, we could play devil's advocate and do benefits of freak offs. I'm writing this down here real quick. By the way, anything you guys are saying, I'm going to put in here. But 12 years, let's see. So benefits of freak offs. What about... So Yoggers is saying that Bitcoin is boring. And yeah, Bitcoin is boring. I mean, honestly, all it really is just... Look, it is a decentralized digital currency. That is true. But it honestly, at the end of the day, isn't worth anything. Because it's just a string of data at the end of the day. It's not even backed by anything. Can't exchange it for gold. Dolphin Tactics says, do freak offs, make good money, and then invest that money. Boom. I mean, Dolphin Tactic, you might be onto something, man. Or you just might be on something. I don't know. But yeah, overall, I think, I think the Big Beautiful Bill is a fascinating bill. I don't necessarily think it's a net negative. I think it's kind of cool. Yoggers Farm says, Dolphin, the benefit of freak offs is control, domination on several levels. Strength, evil, how close a person can get to death or sex. That's crazy. Basically, you guys are like, during sex, you guys are like probably strangling each other and stuff. That's freaky, man. Stevenus Crucius says it's not real. Yeah. No, here's the thing about Bitcoin, man. At the end of the day, what you're owning is just a string of data. And everybody's like, well, yeah, it's a store of value. It's so funny. People think that money actually goes into Bitcoin. No. You're trading your money away for a string of data. In fact, anytime you invest, you're not actually putting your money into anything. You're trading your money away for the market value price of the asset to own the asset. You're not putting your money into anything. So if you are trading your money away, if you're trading your money to someone who's going to give you a string of data, right? A string of data that has no intrinsic value at the end of the day. You basically just traded your money away and you gave it away to some sort of black hole bullshit. But yeah, Peter Schiff is right. Bitcoin is a pure net negative to society, and there's nothing good about it. Nothing at all. Yeah, benefits of the freak offs. We all like the freak offs here. I know we do. Let's see. Yager says freak offs are hosted by the wealthy. Yep. Let's see. Yager says 2 Chinese nationals just got arrested for spying on. Oh, wow. I think most members of our military despise China. Stevenus Krishna says exactly, and there isn't anything solid being held for crypto unless they start doing real world assets. Yeah, like if I could, if there was an entity or something that would allow me to trade those strings of data for gold, like if it was actually backed by gold, if it could be, it can't be because it's purely decentralized and it's a public ledger. I love it when people compare Bitcoin to gold, saying that Bitcoin is a better version of gold, but in digital form. I think they're idiots. Bitcoin is a programmed by a man, by the way. Bitcoin was programmed by a man or a group of people, one or the other, and they put in artificial scarcity. If the scarcity has to be input into the code by a human being of some kind, then there isn't real scarcity. It's artificial scarcity, which means the limit doesn't really exist. The limit is imposed by the program's structure, which means the program structure could have been augmented. Didn't have to be 21 million. Could have been 10 million. Could have been 5 million. Could have had no limit. Dogecoin is a great example of mocking this artificial scarcity. When Dogecoin was created, it was created as a joke to make fun of Bitcoin. And what they did was they made it to where it had unlimited supply. Because it doesn't matter. It's all just a string of data at the end of the day. Whether the supply is scarce or whether the supply is infinite, it still has an intrinsic value of 0, no matter how scarce it gets. That's the point I'm trying to make. But nobody listens to little old me. Nobody. Yager's Farm said the left is freaking out because America is going to enjoy the 4th of July. Lefties losing it out loud. California cities are canceling 4th of July. Dude, California sucks, dude. California is terrible. Like, it's a beautiful state, but the government is ran by the asylum. And the Democrats have become the Democrat Party, man, is the asylum, man. It is the asylum running the show. And it is disturbing, and it is creepy, and it's cringy as shit, by the way. It's pretty bad. It's awful. We all know it. By the way, guys, make sure you guys like and subscribe. Helps the channel out. The more likes we have, the better. The more subscribers we have, the better. We just appreciate it big time. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the content, though. We do really get a kick out of doing live streams. I live for the live streams. I'm all about that life. A lot of the money I make on YouTube goes straight to investing. So Yager says, good night, Garza. I'm always open for any discussions. My man, I always love hearing your thoughts, man. You got a very keen mind. You got a very fascinating mind, too. So I appreciate hearing your perspective on life, man. You got a lot of wisdom that, I could learn from, man. Gave me warnings about the freak offs. I had no idea about what those were about, really. But yeah, you have a great night, my man. And Yagers, just have fun. Just rest well, my man. Have fun. But let's see what else we got here. Yeah, any other show ideas though? I want to hear from the audience. Any other topics you guys would like me to cover? I'll try my best. I really do enjoy covering a wide range of topics when I can. Preferably ones that involve some form of finance. Yager says, remember, Garza, I can always cross lines. My man, dude, I appreciate it, man. What a beast. Got Yager's Farm, everybody. Total stud. So how are you guys celebrating this big, beautiful bill? So Stevenus says, ignoring traditional sectors, what single society shift over the next 50 years would you invest in most heavily and how? Ooh. Ooh. What single societal shift? This is interesting. Huh. Well, I think society's still going to be very much into technology that can fit in their pocket. I think people are still going to be very hooked to their phones. I know I kind of can be. I'll admit it. I get on my phone. I try to I try not to be on it too much. I try to stay off like social media and stuff. I feel like that landscape is fairly toxic most of the time. But I do go on it from time to time. Give me 1 second though. Give me 1 second, you guys. Let's see. LJ Alaska says, look into the Alaska bottom falling industry, destroying the crab stocks and killing and wasting millions of pounds of halibut and other fish species as well. Damn. Whew. These boats destroy everything in their net's path, all to just catch their millions of pounds of pollock fish from McDonald's fish. Yeah, damn, dude. I gotta actually. I'm gonna note that down real quick. Alaska bottom trawling. I'm not gonna guarantee I'll do a show on it, but it might be an interesting topic to bring up. I might even do a little bit of research on it. Destroying the crab stuff. Damn. Yeah, this is what I went on Facebook just for a second. Sorry about that, you guys. I went on Facebook and there's this pussy ass dude. I like going. I actually do enjoy going into my local groups though, because there's this dude who told me to fuck off at one of the things, and he goes to those little he goes to like those stupid little Facebook groups and stuff. It's so retarded, so dumb. Let's see. Okay, and then let's see. As AI dominates investing, what new cognitive biases emerge even within algorithms? And how do you mitigate them? I don't know. Is it possible to? I mean, AI learns through several different methods, whether it's reading books, whether it's reading articles online. And yeah, there's always going to be some form of inherent bias within everybody. I'm biased. You're biased. So the AI may be biased. And to keep the AI neutral, I mean, I don't really know what the correct answer is for that. I wouldn't know. So, huh. All right, you guys. I'm a little bit tired. I do want to actually. Well, I'm not tired. I could keep doing this. I'll take a walk in a little bit. I got enough viewers to where I want to stay on for a bit. Give me 1 second, folks. I'm kind of curious about something here. Let's see. What major systematic risk do you believe markets are currently most underpricing or ignoring? Um, risk. I think that people might be underpricing war because, well, it's a tough one because that's actually, I don't know. I have a very much a lack of answers here. Um, hold on. Oh, this guy's pissing me off. All right. Yeah, so this dude, I can't believe I'm actually arguing with a keyboard warrior. This is insane. This is insane. Karl Marx sucks balls. Let's see. Yeah, I'm actually responding. This guy. So his name is his name's Kevin. I'm not gonna say his full name because I do respect people's privacy, oddly enough. So I go on these little groups, and these people, it is kind of fun because they get into your face. They call you Nazi. They call you fascist. It's like, dude, no. I'll tell you what I am. I'm a capitalist. I do like capitalism. I think it is an effective system. It offers human beings incentive, which is what human beings need, by the way. Human beings need incentive. They need a reason to get out of bed every morning. That's just how humans are. Whether it's a goal, purpose, you name it. Blah blah blah. Let's see. Stevenus says, who in finance holds views diametrically opposed to yours, and what one insight you've gained from their perspective? So I would say somebody who opposes my point of view in finance would be, let's see, Peter Schiff aligns with me pretty well. So he's probably the one. I could tell you who I align with pretty well. Peter Schiff, for the most part. Warren Buffett, we don't agree on diversification, but that's okay. I was gonna say, who else? Who do I not align with? Michael Saylor. Ah, yes, Michael flipping Saylor. So Michael Saylor is a Bitcoin shill and thinks that Bitcoin's gonna save the world. Blah blah blah. He cannot be further from the truth. Yeah, Bitcoin is terrible. It is phony baloney dildo money. But yeah. But yeah, this guy keeps responding. I'm responding to him, though, because it's kind of fun. Yeah, sorry about that, you guys. I'm caught up in this Facebook drama. It's actually kind of fun though. It's been a while since I've been a full-on keyboard warrior. Feeling it. I'm feeling my keyboard warrior chode juices rolling. I will say though, this Kevin guy is making me laugh because he's such a chode. Oh my goodness. So, my boy LeBron James is going to go to the Mavericks. But potentially, this is a trade on the trade rumor mill. It's not a for sure thing, but if LeBron goes to the Mavericks, that would be crazy. I mean, they do have Cooper Flag on there. They do have Anthony Davis. However, the only thing I'm concerned with is how long can that team stay healthy? LeBron's really old. You know, Kyrie's having some injury issues. AD, I think the only one who can be consistently available would be the rookie Cooper Flag. And they better build a really good team around Cooper Flag because he's pretty much their franchise player at this point. Yeah, hold on. Sorry about that, folks. I'm just getting really into this. I usually don't. No, the stream. I know it's still on. Tim Smith says total silence. Does Garza think he turned off his stream off? No, I've been arguing with somebody on Facebook. I never thought I'd get to this level of Karenism, where I'm actually arguing with somebody. I'm becoming a keyboard warrior. I hate it. Let's see. Russell Graham says, and this guy, I don't think he's necessarily a bad dude. I just think he's frustrating. And the more I get to know him, I just realize he's just into collectivism. He's into things like socialism and communism and thinks that they're good ideas. And, more power to him. I think that they're bad ideas. So I'm arguing with someone on the internet why I think that collectivism sucks and individualism's the way to go. And I do believe that collectivism has led to several atrocities in this world that could have been prevented. So, also, when groups of people get together, it's very easy for those groups to crumble because nobody is thinking for themselves. And collectivism offers no incentive. It tries to change human beings into something they're not. But yeah, no. Stream is still going, by the way. I'm having fun. I should actually show the conversation, but I don't want to reveal the dude's last name, just in case he likes to maintain some form of privacy. I do respect that, oddly enough. I try to respect that sort of stuff. But yeah, I don't think he's a bad guy. Just think it's really just a difference in ideologies. I do think it's weird though that he keeps calling me a Nazi. Like, can't I think that collectivism's a bad idea and not be a Nazi? If anything, Democrats started the KKK. Just gonna say that right now. Lincoln freed the slaves. I'm seeing these things about Trump deporting Elon Musk back to Africa. I don't know if that'll happen. You guys think that'll happen? I don't know. Would that be a thing? Could that be a thing? My God. Wonder how many watch time hours I'm getting. This is great. You know, I love doing these shows where I just kind of extend it out. And the big beautiful bill, though, we can all celebrate. We can all rejoice over this big sexy bill. I think it's going to be a net positive for America. I don't know. I don't. Some people will probably see it as a bad thing. I think it's also fun. It's also fun to just kind of put out the news of what's happening around the world, and it's the big beautiful bill for you. It's elusive. It's very sexy. It's very sexy. You guys got any other ideas? Make sure you guys like the video and subscribe to the channel. You guys got any other ideas for the show? Well, you know, I will say this though. At the end of the day, that guy's more miserable than I am. I'm miserable. Don't get me wrong. We all have our own little miseries, but um, that guy is far more miserable than I could ever imagine myself being. I mean that. Like, I don't think he's a bad dude, but just, I don't know. I just think collectivism tends to make people miserable. I think if you're too into socialism and communism and things like that, I think you just end up being a miserable person. Like, I'm an individualist and I still live in a society. You can still be an individual, still live in a society, and not have to be so caught up in agreeing with each other. You know, not everybody has to agree. Debate is good. Disagreeing is good. I think the only reason people like collectivism is because people are afraid of confrontation these days, and collectivism is just easier because everybody agrees with each other, even if the ideas are shit. So, but I do like the fact that this person totally disagrees with me, does not like the shit I'm saying. Oh, he replied. Ooh, there was a suspicious connection. Ah, see, this is why I want to tell you guys why I love Bitdefender. Bitdefender is probably one of the greatest antivirus solutions ever. So Stefanus says, what is the true intrinsic value of money, independent of its transactional utility? Here's the thing. What do you mean by money? Do you mean like the dollar? Because that's not money. It used to be money when it was backed by gold, but the dollar became currency when it was stripped of its gold backing, when it was no longer backed by gold. So the dollar is actually just pure currency at this point, which is unfortunate. Pisses me off, but that's why I don't save money. I mean, I do have a high yield savings account so I could get some yield off of that money, but primarily though, I am investing. I primarily invest. That's just what I do. I don't see any other way to do things except for invest. I'm a crazy investor. I love investing. I'm obsessed with it. I'm pretty gay for this big, beautiful bill. Not going to lie. I think there's a little too much spending in it, though. Too much. I do think it could be a thinner bill. I understand that Trump thinks big, and that is one of the reasons I like him so much. But man. Let's see. Stefanus says that thanks to the 60s, all of the communists who didn't get their way to turn America into a communist state all decided to become teachers so that over time they could brainwash every part. Well, that's a crazy conspiracy theory, but I did notice, though, a lot of my teachers were socialists and communists growing up. So, yeah, that's a thing. Give me some Picard. Give me one more moment. In a way, they got their way. Proponents might be. I still don't understand. I will say this. I don't understand the appeal to communism because, like, I could understand it maybe back in the day when it wasn't tried, when it was kind of on paper. It seemed like a good idea on paper. I'll give people that. But in practice, though, I don't know. In practice, I just can't get on board with it. I never could. And that's one of the reasons why I don't vote Democrat anymore, because they're so into collectivism. I just can't do it. I just think it's wrong. It's incorrect. It's proven to be shitty. Um, Give it to me now. But yeah, I think I did notice though when I was in high school, man, a lot of teachers seemed to love communism. It was a weird thing. Like a lot of them like kind of frowned upon capitalism and money. It was really weird. That was like the one thing I just couldn't understand. So that's why I'm for a futuristic technological governmental system with freedom of individuality and constant learning. Education, exploring your very interest in what you're drawn to. Yeah. Where no human is in an office and the system works fairly. Yeah, and, I mean, here's the thing. I do believe that there should be social safety nets. Nobody should stack at zero. I really do believe that. I just believe that too much socialism equals too much. Obviously, somebody's got to flip the bill, and then the citizens who can pay taxes have to pay the taxes, and usually it's in very high amounts. It gets a little ugly, so it gets a little weird. It gets a little in the weeds. Hmm. Well, sorry, I'm just looking through some notes here. Sorry, I'm a little bit brain dead right now. I'm gonna read some of these chats real quick. Food space will be free for all. So I do believe that in order to have a collectivist society, to some degree, to make it to where everyone can benefit, I mean, we do need to have. Have you guys ever heard of the civilization theory? You know, like you got type 0, type 1, type 2, type 3, type 4 civilization. And they require basically each level of civilization is basically based on that civilization's overall energy output. We're at type 0 point. We're not even at type 1 yet. We do have a high energy output for sure. But in order for us to have a larger energy output, we need other ways. Nuclear energy is one way, but the collective output determines what level of civilization we're at. So it's interesting. But no, I think that the only way we can have a more harmonious society is if we do have capitalism, we do have individualism, we have industries where we're unlocking more things, figuring out more stuff, creating more technology. I think technology will allow the need for human labor to diminish, so we can focus on other things. And what those other things may be, I'm not sure yet. Society has an interesting way of unfolding. I will say, somebody who predicted some of the future stuff very well was Kurzweil. Ray Kurzweil, inventor of the Kurzweil reading machine. And Ray Kurzweil was a futurist. He actually is. He's still alive. Actually, he's a futurist. And he had a lot of predictions, majority of which have come true, especially along the lines of artificial intelligence. And it's crazy how many of Kurzweil's predictions have come true. I'll have to do an entire... I want to do... Actually, hold on. Let me actually do Ray Kurzweil's predictions. Predictions. Okay. I do want to do an entire thing on Ray Kurzweil's predictions because he is a very fascinating futurist. Let's see. While getting closer to their collective goals. They lie, they don't... I'm just kind of reading the comments real quick. They lie, they don't tell us where we come from. They say they can't cure disease and in fact losses. Huh. Interesting. Let's see. Venus says, I come from a prestigious family, and they are completely occult. But yeah, it'd be very fun to do an entire episode based on Ray Kurzweil's predictions. He had a lot of interesting future predictions. Anyway, I'm tired, you guys. I'm sorry. I don't know how long I could go streaming for on this one. I feel like I've gone on long enough, but I do appreciate you guys checking out this episode of The Big Beautiful Bill. I know I went silent for a little bit. I was too busy reading comments and arguing with somebody on Facebook. I shouldn't do that. I don't want to be a Karen. Plus, the guy's not that bad. We just don't agree on things. That happens. That happens. But yeah, anyway, I'll catch you guys later. I'm out. I am honestly tired. Man, I gotta get to bed. Anyway, catch you guys later. Have a good night. A 3-hour stream. My goodness. Oh yeah, it's healthy to talk. It is pretty fun arguing with people on Facebook sometimes, and it got a little out of hand, but things happen. Hopefully people, arguing happens, man. But I'll catch you guys later. Appreciate you guys. We got over 9 likes in this video. I really appreciate the likes and everything. Make sure you guys like this video. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. It really helps us out. And I'll see you all next episode.